Now that we've examined which European countries claimed land in the New World, let's look at how the Native Americans and the Europeans interacted with each other. The interactions between the Native Americans and the Europeans sometimes led to cooperation and other times resulted in conflict. What did that cooperation look like? What types of conflict did these people experience? That's what this video will examine. Despite the notion of a European explorer discovering America, the fact is that there were people here long before the Europeans arrived. Not only were the natives not wild and barbaric, they had well-developed cultures of their own. The Native Americans had an immense respect for the earth, and their behaviors were an effort to maintain balance. They hunted and farmed, even developed irrigation techniques. Beyond the way they interacted with the land on which they lived, the natives had their own governments and systems of belief and learned to adapt to fit in the world in which they lived. So regardless of what Columbus or any of the other Europeans thought, the Native Americans were here first. We have all heard about the nastiness that Christopher Columbus hurled at the natives he encountered. Sadly, there's a lot of truth in the stories of negative interactions. Conflict between the Europeans and the Native Americans could be as simple as dealing with language and cultural differences and the misunderstandings that inevitably arise from them. But there were other more severe conflicts, such as the competition for trade, the overtaking of native lands, and the introduction of diseases. The Spanish were the notorious bad boy Europeans barging into Native American lands. These explorers conquered and enslaved the Native Americans. They brought Christianity to the New World forcibly, and they also brought European diseases that the natives were unable to fight. The French were more forgiving. They also spread the Christian religion, but they did so without the conflict that accompanied the Spanish conversions. The French also set up trading posts, allowing for trade with the Native Americans. The English explorers had wildly different ideas of how land should be used. As you can imagine, like any other significant difference of opinion, conflicts ensued. The Native Americans felt that land should be used and shared, but that it doesn't belong to any one person. The English, however, felt that land was to be owned and claimed the rights to any new land they discovered. They established settlements and learned the farming techniques from the natives, and like the French, they also traded. Native Americans, for their part, were gracious hosts. They put up with everything that came their way from the European explorers, and though they had a difference of opinion on how land should be used, the Native Americans took time to teach farming techniques to the Europeans, who were unfamiliar with the land and what might be grown there. This sharing of ideas in the world of farming was not a one-way relationship. While the natives shared their expertise in the knowledge of the land and viable plants, as well as their farming techniques, Europeans brought with them weapons and metal farming tools, allowing them to improve upon the techniques they learned from the natives. Trade was another area of successful cooperation between the Europeans and the Native Americans. The French set up trading posts and had successful fur trade. The English also successfully participated in this trade, as well as maintained other fruitful relationships. There was significant conflict among the European explorers and the Native Americans, as would be expected. This conflict, especially enslavement and forced Christianity, made it difficult for the Native Americans to hold on to their culture. However, not all was lost, clearly, and the Native Americans and the Europeans were able to fashion mutually beneficial relationships at times.